Hello everyone, it's Amy, and welcome back for week 46 of Build Your Stash and Craft. And today we're going to make foam flowers. I was watching on a show called Create and Craft, and they were making out of special foam. They were making these foam flowers, and I thought our foam from the Dollar Tree is really thin. Normally when you buy the foam like in big sheets at Walmart or whatever, it's a little thicker, but the ones from the Dollar Tree are a little cheaper and they're quite thin. And they were talking about how their foam was very thin. So I thought that I would try it with our fun foam from the Dollar Tree. And this is what I wound up with. Let me just break my stick off because it's too long to show you. And this is the flower that I wound up with, and I thought it just really turned out cool. So I thought that I would show you how to make them. And so it's very simple. To start out with, to do the rose, I just took one sheet of fun foam and I just cut it into 3 pieces. Now I've not done any measurements. I just cut it into about 3 equal pieces. And then out of each piece, I just kind of start in. What we're going to do is we're going to make a petal shape like this. So it'll be a little bit flat across the bottom. So this is our bottom. We're just going to kind of round out and round in before we get to the top. Round back around, and then don't come back to a point, leave a little bit of a bottom there. Like that. Okay? And out of each strip, you can get 5 petals. And just depending on how large you want your flower to be, will depend on how many petals you need. And your petals are going to be different sizes unless you draw them out. There's 3. And make them all exactly the same. But, you know, in nature, nothing is ever exactly the same. So I specifically don't even try and make them exactly the same. I just cut 5 out of that strip, and this is the little bit that we have left. Now, we can use this for other things, like making stamen or something. But once you get all of your petals cut out, now I have 20 here because I did 3 pieces and then I just did another one with you. So I have 20. That might be enough to make a flower. And then what you're going to do, and you're going to just, the biggest thing is don't get too heavy-handed. So you're going to start at the edges and just put your fingers right next to each other. You don't want to go like way out here, although I guess that didn't hurt anything. But put your fingers next to each other and just kind of give it a stretch. It'll make it even thinner than what it was to start with, and it will start making it curl in different directions. Now, if you rip it, don't worry about it. I have a couple rips here. I have one rip right here. And there's another rip in here somewhere. There's a rip right here. So, but you probably didn't notice that when I showed it to you. And normal flowers are not all perfect anyways. So those rips don't really make a difference. They just add a little bit more character to your flower and make it almost look a little bit more natural. So you just go around all the edges. I don't stretch the bottom because that's where I'm just going to glue it. And then I kind of go in and stretch the middle a little bit. And there we go. There's one of our petals, and that's what's going to make our flower look so cool. I'll do that one more time. And I don't know why I start at the top in the middle, but that's where I start. And then I just get a hold of it and stretch, get a hold of it and stretch. Oops, see, I ripped it. I'm not going to do anything about that. I'm just going to make sure I don't pull on it there again. But I'm going to leave that rip right where it's at, and I'm not going to throw this away. I'm going to use it when I put my flower together. So just stretch it. There we go. I did another one. See, I'm trying to do it in a really big hurry. And I did another one. So I've got 3 rips in this one poor petal. It must have went through a big windstorm. So there we go. And that one is all stretched, and I'm just going to set that aside. And I'll go ahead and I will do all of these that way and then put them together into the form of a flower. I just wanted to show you a couple other things. I did do leaves also on the bottom of my rose. And all I did was I just cut a square. And again, I didn't do anything perfect because in nature things are not perfect. And I just cut 3 petals. Only because to me that seems like how many I should have. I don't really know how many petals. You could do 4 if you wanted and do 1 from each corner. I'm going to bring this one over here just a little bit further. And there we we go. So there we go. And then again, just exactly like I did the others, when you have a point, just kind of pull on each side of the point. Pull it up when you're doing this side, and then pull it up this way when you're doing this side, because you just want to flatten that point a little bit too. You don't want it to be all fat. And then just the same way that we did the others, just pinch and pull and pinch and pull. And I'll try not to do this too fast so that I just rip it all over, but if I rip it, it's still going to be usable. And the second you feel it start to rip, just stop pulling so that you don't rip it right in half, and you'll be good to go. So now look at the dimension, this leaf versus this leaf. Isn't that just really great? I mean, this looks kind of real. This looks very flat, like fun foam. And so that's how you could do your petals for, I even got a little hole right there in the middle, so I'm just going to be careful and hold that spot so I don't rip it too much more. And basically, you just do this part slow. It's kind of like the warmth from your hand kind of warms it up and lets it stretch. And you just give it a little stretch. You can always go back and stretch it more. Just don't get in too much of a hurry. And so there we go. There are our leaves for the rose. And this is stamen for the center of a flower. And that looks kind of cool. And if you were to just kind of just show you how that works. You know, you just put it in the center of a flower like that. Of course, these petals would probably go, I don't know. Figure that out later. I did a long leaf. And the same way that I did these petals, I thought those looked like tiger lily petals. And for a long leaf, you can make it pointed on both ends if you want, or you can leave the one end a little bit flat. But I usually do like with the roses, and I leave one end kind of flat. But if you do a point at both ends, and then you do it, you can decide which side is the part that you want next to your flower, and which side is the part that you want sticking out. See, they kind of curl when you stretch them that way. And again, we're just stretching this and thinning it out. Oh, I ripped it. Leaves have rips in them too. Actually, I was looking for a leaf the other day, and I was trying to find kind of a perfect one, and I couldn't find one hardly that was perfect. They all either had holes or rips or whatever. And so there's our leaf with some texture to it. And to do the little stamens, you just take a piece and cut it into little tiny strips like this. Oh, don't cut all the way through. That one is way close to the bottom and it'll rip. And then you just kind of stretch and twist them. And just twist them right up and give them a pull. And just give them a twist and a pull. And by doing that, like the twist and the pull, kind of gives you the thin and a little bit thick at the top. So it kind of looks more like how stamen do, with they have that little bulb at the top. But just give it a twist and then give it a pull. Oops, pull it off. Oh well, we're going to roll it up. You'll never know there's one missing. Maybe it got stuck to the bee when the bee came in to pollinate it. Just twist and pull and hang on to the bottom. And just remember, just don't, you know, I'm being very heavy-handed because I'm trying to hurry to show you these different techniques all at the same time. So, and I just did this. I cut a bunch of this stuff out, and I just did this while I was watching TV. And I really enjoyed it because I actually could do it by feel. I didn't have to stare at it. So I could actually watch the TV and do this at the same time. And I like to keep my hands busy if I'm watching TV. I have a hard time. I can't just sit and watch TV. And I really haven't found the perfect thing to do on the couch yet that's not super messy or whatever. So I think that I have found something that I can enjoy doing in front of the TV. And I pulled that one off. But see, so here's some of our stamen, and then we just roll those up like that. And of course you're going to have like a whole strip, but you don't have to have a whole strip either. It might depend. Some flowers don't have a ton. So this actually, just even what we did right here, that might make, as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to take that off right there because I like the looks of that. I think that that looks pretty good. And then like this one is really long. Of course, they're not all the same length in nature either, but maybe I might want to pull one of these out just a little bit more so that one is not just so tall all by itself. And then you can spread them out. So that's how you can make stamen. And then you just decide how you want to put them together. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and I'm going to make a bunch of these now that you know how to do it. And then I will come back and I'll show you how to put them together. And I'm going to show you how to make a lit rose with your tea light. So I'll be back just shortly. Okay, I'm back. Doesn't that just look like rose petals thrown all over? I just wanted to remind you the one thing I didn't know. I'm pretty sure I said it in the first part of the video, but oops, ripped it. I just wanted to remind you that after you do the outside edge, because I know I did a few and showed you just squish and pull, but I want to remember to remind you, don't forget the center. So after you get the sides done, just go into the center and squish and pull. There we go, just so that the whole thing is, looks like it's got a corner up there on the top, so I'm going to round that off. There we go. Okay, so I just want to remind you, don't forget to pull the centers too. And I did make two. I just cut them down a little bit. I just took two of them and cut them down a little bit just for my center for my rose here. And all we're going to do is we're going to put some glue on there. Go around a little bit. And then take the little one. And I'm just going to wrap it right around the little light there. And that one's even got a little rip in the bottom. And then I'm just going to put some around the other side. Put the other little one. You kind of want to try and overlap them a little bit because that's the way that the petals go. And then you have to hold it for a second because the fun foam doesn't want to grab like right away. It's very sturdy once you get it put together, but you do kind of have to hold it a little bit till it dries. And so that's basically the start of our bud. And then you're just going to layer it up from there. So I kind of sorted kind of medium, large, and I'm going to just put a little bit of hot glue on the bottom of that one and come in and put it where those two come together. And make sure you get it down to the bottom here. Okay, and then we'll put the next one on the other side. A little bit across the bottom. And go right in on the other side where those two come together. Just make sure you get it pushed down to the bottom and get it pushed up against the others real well. And then that's how you do it. You just alternate them. If you don't make a huge mess with your, and you just pick and choose which ones you want to use. I try and put the glue on the side that seems to be curving like this, so that when I put it on there, it's curving the same way as as you want it to go. And the ones that are really curled over, I want to kind of leave those towards the end because I kind of want those to curl over the edge of my tea light here to cover up that base. and you just start, you get to the point where once you've gone around a few times, then you kind of like, you can notice where, well, I need to put one in this empty spot, like right here. I need to put one in this empty spot. You can do it like back and forth or whatever, but once I get started, once I get those first like 4 on, then I start just looking, where does it seem like I need another petal, because in some places, especially with them being curled in all different directions, some places may look like they need a petal next. So this one needs to be moved over a little bit for my liking. Let's make sure I get that attached down there. And I didn't, so I'm going to put just a little bit more glue on that one. And pull that in there. Now be careful. Don't burn yourself. I'm kind of doing this fast, so I'm kind of getting glue all over the place. But be very careful when you're pushing those on there. Maybe get some of those, get some kind of finger protection. But you just want to make sure that you don't burn yourself. I think now I need some over here. Whoops. Well, there we go. I'm going to put it between those 2 petals. Peewee, no. I want one right here. It's got a rip in it, and that's okay. And you just want to try and get it really pushed in there at the bottom. Uh-oh. I think that hubby's home. I'm going to put in a couple more before I put these on the bottom to hang over the edge. Okay, stop you guys. Okay, I'm back, and I finished putting the rest of the petals on. Sorry about the dogs. And I wound up taking my 3 leaves that I had cut like this for this type of rose, and I pulled them apart, and I just put them in different spots around the rose. But this is what it looks like, and then you can just turn it on, and it has that little flicker to it. So I thought it turned out really, really pretty. And the other thing that you can do with it then is you can take, now this is my watercolors, and you can just take, I wanted this because it was pink on the red one. I used my alcohol inks and used the red. But you can just kind of go in and just like touch it to the ends of the petals. You can also do this before you put it together if you'd like to. Or you don't have to do it at all. So I just like kind of like the little bit of just the added interest, the difference that it gets. And you'll want to take your time and get it, you know, where you want it and how you want it. But it's just nice to kind of get it just a little bit of two-tone there. So, and then just let that dry well. Don't try and dry this with your heat gun because it will release the hot glue and it will melt the fun foam. So you definitely don't want to put any kind of heat like your heat gun on here. So, but this is how this looked. And after I get all of this on here, and I think I'll put some others together too so that you can see some of the other different designs that you could make. And then I'll come back and I'll show you what they look like and to let you know what we need for next week. So be right back. Okay, so I'm back with the finished flowers. Here is the rose that we made, and I have the light on, and it looks so pretty with it flickering. And then I made a poppy, and I made the poppy because when I was making the rose, I thought that all of the petals as I was making them and setting them down there, they reminded me of poppy petals. So I just went on to Google and looked at poppy pictures and made the poppy. And then I have one here that looks like a lily. And to make the poppy, I just cut a shape that looks kind of like this, 2 smaller ones, and then I did 3 bigger ones. I thought it was going to be like 2 and 2, but it didn't look right, so I added another one. But you could make any type of flower that you want to make with this. Just go on to Google, look at flower pictures, and make one that looks kind of like it. So I really do appreciate you watching. I really had fun making these, and I hope that you try them yourself. For next week, we are going to need chipboard, and we're going to need our paper punch, and then just most of our stash. We're going to need paint and nail polish, and I don't know what we're going to use. We'll just figure that out next week when we get there, but we'll just need the things in our stash, so we're not spending anything this week. That will leave us $5 more to put in our bank. We had 13 after last week, so now we have 18, and I think we're saving up for a scoreboard. I think that's the last big thing that we really should have for our stash. So thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your support. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.